Welcome to North Idaho Experience. In today's podcast, Eric and I sit down with Matt Quackenbush. He is a psychotherapist. Man, we talked about so many amazing things today. This was almost a 2-hour conversation. But stick around to the very end. Trust me, you will get a lot out of this. We talked about post-traumatic growth, turning tragedy into growth. So that's the other way to look at PTSD is PTG. Okay, I learned a lot here from some of my own experiences as well. We talked about hormones, supplements, Matt's killer morning routine, which you should get on, and some of the programs that he's involved in that are out there helping first responders. So check out the whole episode. You guys will definitely dig this one. And remember, if you think about making the move here to North Idaho, reach out to our real estate team. We specialize in helping conservative families find their freedom right here in North Idaho.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Same way. I'm up at 4:30 every day during the week.
Well, that's impressive. I don't think I could do that.
It's the only time of the day that I can control. That's like mine. Beyond that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Shit falls apart at work. I've got 2 kids.
Dragons to slay.
Yeah,
dude.
there's no dragons to slay at 4:30 in the morning. So that's my time. I get up and I drink my coffee. Actually, I drink tea. Whatever. I'm not British. Chill out. I drink my tea and I'll like journal or I write poetry. I'll do that during
Read a little stoicism.
Chill with the dogs. Yeah.
The Stoics. I'm in, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
I'm in the right crew.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, he's a cold plunge guy too, man.
Oh, yeah.
We should have taken him to heat praxia this morning. That would have been.
You just needed to be here for a little bit longer.
Yeah, another day. We'd have you
I'll
out
come
there.
back. Let's go.
Yeah, you will. It gets in your blood. Coeur d'Alene's like nowhere else, dude.
It really is. We've been up here a couple times. I've done this conference a couple times. That's why we're up here for the first responder conference deal. And it's just, there's something about it, man.
Yeah.
This place just, I was taking the little shuttle in from Spokane, and you just get into Idaho, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's just like there's this vibe, man. I love it here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Everybody notices it too.
It's palpable for sure.
It is. Yeah. It's so funny how we got connected. So my wife's cousin reached out and was like, "Yo, Matt's gonna be up there, and I think you're his therapist. You're probably not allowed to talk about that, but that's fine." He's like, "Gotta get him on the podcast." So
yeah, I've known Drew for a long time. Drew and I worked together at Steps Recovery Center down in
Nice.
Utah. So we've been buddies for a long time. Been working together for a little bit too. He's a freaking stud. So.
He is. He went through the ringer, man, and I'm super proud of him. Like he came from a good family, went down a bad path, turned his life around, and now he's just like rock solid.
Dude, the podcast we had yesterday, though, man, everybody, it's a certain point in life. Like, you've kind of got one, I think everybody starts to go down a path, right? And then you've got this opportunity. It's, do I keep going down this way or do I go down this one? And I just wonder how many, I can think back to a couple of people that probably kicked me onto this one. And if you didn't have those couple of people, that's why, even as a cop, I was always pretty freaking understanding of how people could go down a pretty rough path in life. It doesn't mean I wouldn't hold them accountable. I absolutely would, but that was my role, right? Accountability plays
I could probably point to several specific moments in my life where, I could have I was already going down a bad path. And then, whatever it was, I don't know, it's like some deep embedded morality that was there since birth. My parents gave me, or a person that came into my life at the right moment and pushed me, just gave me a little nudge, pushed me back in my lane.
Yeah.
And sent me back down the right path. But yeah.
That stayed with me. I was always incredibly humbled by that and grateful for it. So when I had opportunities to do the same thing and give that back, it was that I'm always for that.
Yeah, and it's cool. We had this gal on yesterday, and Erica, she was one of your clients from your previous career.
Yeah. We knew each other from my previous life. Yeah,
awesome.
And she was on the wrong side, but she's turned her life around. She's like just a healthy, productive member of society, happy, and to see that, I'm like, because I've had that conversation with many people in the backseat of the patrol car, and to see someone that successfully did it, I'm like, all right.
But like re-engaged with her kids, completely got it. And her and her husband at the same time, because they were both, and that's even harder, right? Because they used heavily together for 13 of their 18 years.
That's
like,
just
but for
wild.
both of them, just go, okay, like finally there's enough consequence.
Enough's enough. Let's make a decision.
I have so much respect for that. I mean, the ability to bounce back, just because drugs aren't the way they were when I was a kid, like smoking a little bit of freaking outdoor ganja, that was like, that is not what it is now. No. Everything's so much more potent. It's so much more addictive. Even weed. I mean, you've got such heavy THC concentrations. It's not like
that shit that came in a brick from Mexico when we were kids.
Right. We're picking seeds out of it, right? Like, it's not that way anymore, man.
Don't smoke the seeds, man. You get a headache.
That's right. That's right.
The stems and seeds, you got to pick that shit out.
Allegedly. I mean, I read a lot of books about that. People have educated me about that.
Well, the crazy thing now is with the weed stuff, right, is all the edibles. These really powerful edibles.
Yeah.
Freaking people are tripping balls and going to outer space and like losing their minds and never coming back.
Right.
Like they flips them into psychosis.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Some of the stuff that's happening.
That's interesting that you bring that up because we ran into that on patrol where I fought a guy downtown when it was like 20-something degrees and he ended up making, I think he chipped Guthrie's tooth or busted his lip open, whatever, but we would have sworn he was on meth. Maybe shrooms because I've seen some pretty wild trips in shrooms, but he was sweating and it was cold out. And there's no other way to call it than like a THC overdose. He'd smoked for like 4 days, and then he was smoking trying to go to sleep, and then he was using other stuff to try to, and it just turned into this cycle.
Just flipped him.
Yeah. And I mean, fought like again, I was worried about excited delirium, right? Because I was the sergeant on it, and I was like, man, everything that I'm seeing from this guy makes me think that it's some kind of crazy upper. It was just weed.
Wow.
His talks came back, just weed.
Wow.
And so I just wonder.
That's wild, yeah.
I don't think it's super common, but I absolutely think because of the concentration.
More common than anybody cares to be willing to talk about.
I have heard about that very small segment of the population. It will kick them into some type of psychosis.
Yeah, some of that. But the thing that people don't talk about, I don't know if this is, apparently we're now on a drug podcast.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
Well, the thing that people, So I worked in substance abuse, still do, right? Like what the Deer Hollow thing is recovery treatment center deal. I've been doing that for 20 years. That's my bread and butter. It's recovery. And what people don't understand about weed is it's directly linked to increased levels of anxiety for nearly everybody who takes it, and everybody thinks it's a treatment for anxiety. This is what you can read this in research. There's data to support this. So.
I can see that.
Because the paranoia.
Yeah.
Paranoia, but it increases levels of cortisol, and really the main thing that it's doing is like sleep. It's killing like the late hours of your sleep, like that really good REM sleep stuff. It's messing with that, and so people think it's good for sleep, and docs are even prescribing it for sleep. But when you really get into the nitty gritty of the research, not a sleepy helpful thing. So there's some work to be done here, and I'm not here to be like don't smoke your weed or whatever, but like the daily use stuff. Right? There's data out there, and like you look at brain scans of people, like this brain scans of people who are chronic alcohol users, really daily alcohol users, not chronic, and daily weed users, and the daily weed users have a more aged brain.
Oh wow!
It's actually harder on your brain, more likely to put you into like dementia psychosis.
You can't have any damn fun anymore.
I do.
Well, but he said daily users, right?
Daily.
Like that's what
the problem.
Yes.
It's not a medication.
Right.
Sure, if you smoke some weed with your buddies and hang out and on the weekends maybe or whatever, but if you're doing this every day and this is your thing that gets you through life, like I've just found that, right? If it's outside of you and it's getting you through your day and helping you with your insides, and you need to use that thing every day, that's dependence, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good way to look at it. Right.
Yeah.
So like a lot of other things, I don't want to say like anything else because I don't think you should use fentanyl in moderation. But if you use something in moderation, just like drinking, you drink responsibly in moderation, that's not going to.
My dad told me that when I was a kid. I ignored it many times, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Other than methamphetamine. Heroin.
Yeah, fentanyl. Probably not
I don't think you should do those in
a recreational use or
True story.
So
so we're going to talk about drugs a little bit.
All right,
we got that out.
Eric loves talking about drugs.
I
do. Talking about drugs. But what are you up here for right now? We haven't even talked about why you're here.
So first responder conference, right? Sean Thomas and her team do a conference. They travel around the country. Every year they do one here in Coeur d'Alene. I've been at it multiple times, spoken here multiple times. I just did a talk yesterday on it's like hormones and epigenetics and sleep and all sorts of good stuff. So it's
dude,
yeah,
bro, it was good, dude.
I nerd out on that shit.
It was some nerdy stuff, bro. Yeah, I'm a big dork. I love that stuff.
I want to dive into that. And
for sure.
Write a little note.
I already took some screenshots. I got to know more about the podcast guest this time because he always likes to surprise me, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's like, Seth's going to like this.
So I actually had Sean. I had a previous podcast called Copy That Radio. It was all first responder stuff, and I actually had Sean and her husband, I can't remember his name, on that podcast.
Awesome.
Talking about it, because I went to the first responder conference here 3 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it was life changing. And you can talk about that because you sent me a text this morning that it was life changing for you,
dude. It was wild,
and I recommend anybody in that field
Should
to
definitely go. If
And
it's coming in your neighborhood, man,
it's
just
not
check it
like
out.
a bunch of kumbaya shit. Like,
No.
it's not that.
It's real.
yeah.
It's really intense speakers. God, there's a couple on there that I was just like blown away by, hearing the stories.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember who they were, but they were good. And, you go through this emotional roller coaster if you've lived that life, and you come out of it like heavy.
yeah.
Like, what just happened to me, right? Like a whole day in there, you're like, oh my goodness, I need to go process some shit. And then you go home and you sleep on it, and you wake up the next day and you're like, I think I got a whole new outlook on life.
Yeah.
Is that accurate, Eric?
Man, I don't
You were there
know.
yesterday.
Yeah, well, it was weird. Like, I sent you a text this morning. It's like, I don't know what happened between yesterday and this morning.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just had a wave rush over me, like everything heavy just lifted. And I don't know why. There was a few really poignant things that I took out of yesterday that were really good. The guy that talked about PTSD to PTG, and then he referenced
Post-traumatic growth is crazy, dude.
man, but the reference to the guys in Vietnam that were over there and they were captured and tortured for up to 9 years. Could be 6 months to 9 years, and they're telling their families when they come back, hey, they're going to be psychotic. They're not going to be able to reassimilate. Like, they're not going to be who left, and all of these things. And then they come back, and then they're studying. They're trying to figure out what this is all about. And 1-to-1 for the guys that were just in Vietnam to the ones that were captured, the captured group was healthier. They live longer. They seem to have fuller lives. Wild. And that's not what they tell you, right? Because PTSD is kind of, you need to recognize you're not going to be the same.
You're busted, man. You're broken.
Exactly.
You're doomed. You got this freaking
Okay.
diagnosis for life.
So,
Right.
okay, tell me more about PTG.
Post-traumatic growth. So oddly enough, for whatever, I'm a 4th-year PhD student. I'm currently working on a dissertation, and the framework that I'm using to write this dissertation is post-traumatic growth. And what the idea behind post-traumatic growth is simply put, it's not a new idea, but it's now we have a way of being able to measure the ability, really the capacity for somebody to learn from and grow from hard things in their life, specifically trauma, right? So if I have this event or series of events, or something that happens to me over a period of time, or it could be a singular event that's really intense and it overwhelms my nervous system to the point where I can't cope with it, I can't deal with it, that's a trauma, right? So stubbing your toe, sorry lady, the freaking nail salon, that's not trauma, you freaking shut up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just get sick of it. And it's my PTSD. No, you don't have freaking PTSD. I'm like, you just don't.
Right.
Okay. That's a real freaking diagnosis, and it's a big deal.
Right.
Because your whole entire nervous system is now changed. But who says change is good or bad? Change is just change, and that's kind of the foundation of post-traumatic growth. So there's an alteration in my nervous system, in my chemistry, in my outlook on life. The beauty of humanness is we get to decide what that means to me. And meaning and purpose is what creates my outlook, which is in turn what creates my relationship to my experience, right? Mm-hmm. And the relationship to the experience is the very thing that we're all worried about all the time. How do I see this experience? What is it to me? I have this thing that's happening, and I'm now having this hard thing that's happening. If I relate to it as, this is tough, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. That's my relationship to this thing. And what's that going to create neurobiologically? What's that going to create relationally, socially for me when I meet difficult challenges? Now, all of a sudden, challenges are something that I look at, and I'm not looking forward to them. I'm leery. I'm scared. I'm worried. That changes my physiology, right? Post-traumatic growth comes in and says, hey, there's these different areas of your life where it comes to spirituality, relationships, meaning, values, right? These things are going to be affected by the difficult moments in your life. And in fact, if you really take a step back and you look at those hard moments of your life, those hard moments, those really challenging things are where you learned more about who you really are than any other time. especially if you showed up as best as you could. The problem is how you relate to that moment, the story.
I passed this on to my son this morning. We were sitting there waiting for the bus, and he's got some stuff going on at school, but in sports, and there's always like a little bit of drama in high school. But I said that exact same thing. I said, when I look back at some of the things that I'm the most proud of, it's the things that I really didn't want to endure or go through. But it's how I responded in those moments. That's why I tell him, don't shy away from things that are challenging, difficult, or stressful. Those are the things that are going to shape the way you respond to stressful endeavors later in your life. Man, own them. Be there for them. Be there for them. You're already there. Most of the time when I coach, I tell those guys, when you're in those hard moments, man, live in them. You're already in there, right? Like, it's your choice how you respond to those. All you can control is your attitude and your effort, but how you respond in that moment is going to shape how you respond to the next. And even when it's challenging, like having an adult conversation with somebody and being honest and frank, don't just say whatever you need to get out of it. Yeah. Man, live in it. Like, you're already in there.
And
right?
and I mean, the beauty it is, like, you can cultivate the mindset of, once you go down that road, of intentionally seeking out those opportunities every chance that you get.
Yeah.
And that I think that is where you have massive growth.
Oh man, some of the people we've had on here, when they talk about, man, they embrace opportunities to put themselves under stress and pressure.
Right.
They embrace it because they love the growth that comes from it.
Yeah.
But that was a big one for me, that when he was explaining that kind of hit a little bit different. And then when you were talking yesterday and all the different ways when it comes to genetics and when you really hit sleep hard, I've had a few that I don't mind saying it on here. People listen to us as I'm getting ready to get out of the military. I've got one more year left in the reserves. Whatever.
He's been saying one more year for 3 years.
I know that. I really am almost done. But they sent home a sleep study, and they're like, "All right, you have sleep apnea, right?" And I was like, "Oh, whatever. This is some crap.
Weak, bro.
Yeah, this is fine. Whatever." So VA is going through all this, and they sent this machine home with me where I look like freaking Bane. So I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, role play night's going to be real fun."
Yeah.
I exist in the darkness, right? Like, whatever. So she sends home this thing. So I was thinking about it after years. I was like, all right, sleep. I don't want to wear this stupid thing, but I swear to God, I slept for the first time in 6 months. I swear to God, I slept for 6 hours for the first. I woke up this morning at 5, like, what? Who am I? So I was like, probably
your brain was like, I had oxygen all night long.
Dude, I got up, walked out on the deck because we got a pretty cool view of the lake, whatever. But I'm out there doing push-ups on the deck, like just feeling it. Like for the first time, I swear to God, I like woke up like in the moment, just and realizing that I've been living in a cloud, right? Like living in a fog for a while. I was like, damn. So I can't say whether it was a lot of that yesterday. Maybe it's just compounding and everything kind of hit right, and then maybe I slept decent for the first time in months. But I was like, shit.
Okay, it could have been a combo of all
I woke up like just jacked. Like, all right, how do I get healthier?
I love it.
How do I get healthier? And, how do I maintain and then push? And
right.
All that was
Good
cool.
for you, man.
I'm still like stuck on this post-traumatic growth because I think it's answering a question that I've wondered about for a while. I've talked about this a million times on here, but you don't know it. My house burned down in 2018 in a wildfire. I was working patrol. I was doing evacuations in the same town that burned down. I had like a number of factors, right? My home burning down. I watched it burn down at the end. I don't even know how many times I almost died driving through fire. I witnessed some other horrible shit. I heard some horrible shit on the radio. And then I had to go home and, well, not home, my father-in-law's house where my family was, to tell them that their house burned down. And I've, being a cop for 14 years, I've been through a lot of fucking trauma and seen a lot of dumb shit. Going through that, laying down in not my bed, someone else's bed that night, I experienced like the most acute level of stress that I have ever had in my life. I was like curled into a tight ball, and I don't know if I slept or not. I was in bed for like 6 hours. I got up and went back to work, but that I can't describe it to people. I've had, like I said, tons of trauma and in past experiences, and then to have that, like I don't even know what the fuck that was, but it was wild. And then I look, I had a couple of years after that were like pretty rough at work. I think I was definitely experiencing PTSD.
Adrenal fatigue.
Yeah. Like I lost all passion for the job. Like I was just fucking done. I got out and then I moved up here. And then since then I've had like the most incredible growth ever in my life. And I'm 45 now. So to experience that in your 40s, I feel like I'm not even remotely the same man that I was prior to that. So when you tell me about post-traumatic growth, I'm like, oh, maybe that's it.
It's the beauty of humanness is there's a choice. Mm-hmm. And when we devalue that choice, we become victims of circumstance, right?
That word is so right away, and this is how we got our kids through it. We were like, you're not victims. No. And I've heard so it drives me crazy when I hear people, I was a victim of the fire or whatever. I heard it people would come into my office at work, the CHP office, and they'd be like, they just want, handouts. I'm a victim. I'm like, shut up. So we right away from our kids, we're like, you're not a victim. This will not define you in a negative way. This is a great lesson. You know that you can lose everything and you're going to be okay. And, we always switched it to the positive for them. And they've gotten through it. Maybe there was a little bit, they both went to counseling for a little bit afterwards. But like the growth they've had since then has been huge too.
Yeah. So I've been in mental health for 20 years, and for the last decade, I've worked with people who've buried children. I do a lot of grief work because my best friend's daughter died very, very suddenly. And so I about every week or so, probably sometimes a couple times a week, I get to sit across from somebody who's buried their own child. Yeah.
Man,
that's rough, dude.
Well, even on your side, because that's like third part. That's
and when I was 22, my best friend died from cancer. Is my cousin. We were born 3 months apart. Is my brother. My relationship with death is very personal, very real, and I sit down across from these people, and they teach me, right? Like, and this is the thing that I learn, and I have a friend of mine now who actually started a podcast that everybody should check out. It's called The 1090. It's incredible. So this guy's name is Mason Sawyer, and he now is a public speaker, tells his story all over the country, very public about our relationship. But he met me a few months after his family had died, and he didn't just lose one family member; he lost 5. His brother, his nephew, his wife, his son, and his daughter all died. He had another son in the car crash who lived. His name's Blue. He's still alive. So he comes to me a few months after.
How the fuck do you get through that?
Yeah, tell me about it. Right?
Was this in Nevada?
This was in Utah.
Okay, it was.
Yeah, it was very public. It was a dust storm.
Okay.
Yeah, there was 8 people that died, or 7 or 8 people that died, and 5 of them were his family. Yeah,
dude.
And so his sister-in-law is now, public as well about she's my client. I work with the daughter of his brother, and I've worked with his whole family. I know his family. We've done public speaking together. It's just incredible what this family has been able to do and how they turn this around and turn it into growth. And what Mason, he's sitting there across from me on this couch, and he's in tears, and he's just like, you know what, man, like, I've been to 6 therapists. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to live, and I can't kill myself because I got this son. I don't know, what am I supposed to do? So I look at him dead in the eye, and I have a couple of things. I call them like bits, but they're not really bits. It's just there's stuff that you just tell people that resonates, that just works. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I say to people, and one of the things that really works, and I genuinely mean this when I say this, is I wouldn't, and honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you did take your own life, man. I don't think anybody would. And that usually takes people aback, and they're kind of like, okay, maybe he gets it a little bit. Because I get it. I've been suicidal, very acutely suicidal 3 times in my life, so I know what it's like to feel hopelessness. And then I said, the thing that kind of really shocks people and really kind of wakes people up to the reality of this is like, and I said this to him, I said, what if it's not about you, though? What if it's about something even bigger than you? Because tomorrow somebody's going to wake up and they're going to lose a brother. They're going to lose their sister. They're going to lose their mom, their best friend, their daughter. The next day it's going to happen. The next day it's going to happen. Every day. This is the reality of our existence. It's how we choose to respond that defines our quality of life and how we really contribute to the world around us. Because maybe, and this is the thing that pissed him off the most, maybe this is an opportunity. And he said, in that moment, he just wanted to jump across and like freaking strangle me. Like, my family's dead. It's an opportunity. Fuck you, dude. Right? He was pissed. But he was wise enough and had the composure to be able to kind of sit back with that and let it kind of settle and think about it. And what he realized is like everything is an opportunity. There's always opportunity, but it's how we choose to respond. That's the choice. That's the human part of this. And so what did he do? He freaking, he called me up and he's like, hey, can you help me start a podcast? I was the first guest on his podcast. His podcast now has tens of thousands of listeners. He's spoken in front of hundreds of thousands of people. He's been on this and that and the other, and he just keeps telling his story, and he's helping so many people. Mm-hmm. And so we call it we is greater than me. And if you serve the we, not sacrificing the we, because I'm in the me, right? I'm included in the we. That's why I show up. That's why I do my freaking cold plunges and work out and do all the stuff I got to do and take care of myself, because I know I got to contribute to this thing called humanity, called my family, called this podcast, right? I had to show up today. When that's my mentality, and I realize that every moment I have is an opportunity to create a change in the world, that I could never truly understand the ripple effect of my presence, my energy that I create in the world. When I realize that, the potential energy that I have and what I could do, it's a game changer. And that's the message that I carry and that I've taught people for a long time now, because I think as I've talked to, because I've sat down for, I think I did the math recently. It's like close to 16,000 hours of just talking to people.
Wow.
Yeah, just talking to people one-on-one or in groups. And you learn a lot when you listen. Mm. I'm not a big talker. I like to listen. Mm. And I learn the same things over and over and over, just reinforced, right? People drastically underestimate their value and their potential influence. Drastically. Mm. Drastically. And when we start to actually really value that effectively, we show up. Because when you realize it's not about you, it's about us. Mm-hmm. It's a huge game changer, man. Huge game changer. That story, 1090 podcast, check that out. You should fly Mason up here, get him on your podcast, change your life, dude. He's powerful, dude.
That's heavy.
He's a powerful dude. Yeah.
We would love to have him come up here.
Yeah.
Experience a little Coeur d'Alene magic and have him up here for a couple of days. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, I hear stories like that, and I just, that was like always a big fear of mine. When I was trooping, it was so much more, I don't know if it was actually real, but it seemed so much more real to the risk of your family driving around, right? Because I see car crashes every day. I see people dying all the time. It's like, so you start to think that's normal. Because you experience it every day, multiple times, right? Every cop, every firefighter goes through this. Like, that's, your whole job is going to everybody's worst day. So you assume like worst days happen all the time. But in reality, it's never happened to me personally. I've just been there. But I had this great fear. My wife would take the kids out. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm anxiety all the time when she's driving around with the kids, right? Because of, that kind of scenario. It went away after years of not being a cop. I don't have that feeling anymore. I've like gone back to reality in a way. But
yeah, just hearing it, man, you kind of reframe my thought process on one in particular, because I used to see it all the time. I was on dive rescue, and we had to go pull a car out of a lake in Fernan, and it was a mom and her 2 kids, and it was drug related, and it was intentional, and all 3 of them were dead. And pulled him out, and then I had to get back in uniform and go do the notification to the dad. So after that, we'd see him around in town, and he's just, dude, he's a lost soul, right? And
shell of himself.
Yeah. I hope now he's not that way. But every time I saw him, I had this weird for years, because we'd get calls, and even as I'd say, guys, can you handle this? Like, I had an extremely hard time holding him accountable the same. Like, it just, like, I had my own little hitch, right? Because to me, I almost, like, you get a pass, right? Like, there's no, you get a pass. But now, but now I'm thinking and going, wait a minute, man. No, like, there's a choice in here.
Well, because it's understandable that somebody would respond that way, and we can have compassion for that, right? But sometimes the most compassionate response is to show somebody what they're capable of and give them a new idea about a possibility, right? Like, what is, so when I train therapists, right, and this is not my phrase, but the idea of a therapist, like the goal is to sit down with somebody, and your job is to really, you're this, quote, merchant of hope. You're selling them hope, right? It's the hardest sales job on the planet, because guess what? I got to sell you. You got to buy your answer, right?
Right.
And most people are looking outside in themselves for answers, right? Or a tool or a trick.
How about meds? Yeah.
Something.
Give me this one thing that'll fix it.
Or even like, can you just tell me, like, Matt, just give me a tool. Or can I just like have a breathing exercise to help me with my anxiety? And I'm like, sure, I can give you tools all day. We can give you a tool belt, man. Let's go. Let's get tools. But until you actually dig deep and understand that, like, deep within your soul, deep rooted, nestled deep in your soul is pain that has not yet been transmuted into purpose, and it holds you back. You got to dig for that. You got to figure out where that is. When did that happen? How did that happen? What was it like for you? Re-experience it now with a new, fully functioning brain. Change the way the brain experiences that. Literally, the part of the brain that's recalling and firing as you recall this memory can change as you explore these things. And it will change the way your nervous system fires in response to the recall of these memories. That's what therapy is, right? And when you do that, you change your literal physiology of your body, but it's not just physiology, right? Because the system is interconnected. It's not just a mind. It's not just biochemistry, right? It's not just a body. There's this thing called a soul in there. The one thing we can't understand. We don't know what it is. We don't know what a spirit is. It doesn't make sense because it's not, the mind can't comprehend the spiritual. It can kind of tell stories about it, but the soul is felt. And that felt experience of change, that's it. Post-traumatic growth is changing your soul, man. Mm-hmm. It's shedding layers of cushion, of ego, right? Of protection around this idea of your fragility, that your death is imminent and you need to be really scared of it. And what happens if it happens? I got to be careful. Oh no, what if? Eventually you shed all that shit and you're just like, I don't care. I'm going to freaking live. I'm going to show up. I'm going to pull my shoulders back. I'm going to go freaking climb a mountain. I'm going to bring my friends. I'm going to show up as this fucking guy, Matt Quackenbush, and he's a badass. And when you show up that way, it changes people, man. Because people, they vibe, dude. We vibe with each other. You see that authenticity, and it hits. And when it hits another person and it resonates with them, they go, oh my gosh, I could do that too. And we undervalue that. And it's more simple than people give it credit for, but that's what needs to happen. But I can't be fully authentic until I meet my pain.
Do you think most people are walking around with pain? I mean, that's just unresolved.
The vast majority.
I mean, it could be like divorce at a young age or whatever, parents getting divorced.
Well,
who knows?
It's the pain of, right? So when you look at, like, you can actually measure, like, on a pain scale, right? Like, which emotion is the most painful? What registers? Because your brain can't differentiate between physical pain and emotional pain. Can't do it. It's just pain is pain, right? Mm-hmm. And when you register pain on a scale and you look at the physiological response to pain in the mind, in the brain, and in the body, loneliness is the most painful emotion you can experience. We are creatures of connection, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at moments of loneliness, abandonment, especially neglect, especially early in life, right? When you needed help, you needed somebody there, you needed a caregiver, you needed a person, you needed a hand. There was no one there. That sucked, and that created a very deep soul wound, right? That's the word for trauma when you go back to the Sanskrit, soul wound. And that soul wound, when treated with attention and care and, most importantly, love, when you love that part of you that carries that pain, what you help that part of you realize is that you did do it alone. You didn't need anybody. And if you didn't need anybody at your loneliest, worst, scariest moment, maybe you don't need anybody now, and you're not as dependent on everybody else as you think you are. And if that's the case, well then, what about all these other lonely people? What if you could be the one who's there for them? Maybe that's your purpose. Who else is lonely? Go find them. Help them. Let's help each other.
That touches on a conversation I had with my daughter the other day because she was stressing about a test. for a new job that she's got. And like I came to this realization a couple years ago, and it's got me through so many things. I've probably heard it somewhere, but it's basically I've overcome all of the challenges I've ever met in my life. And when I look at it, I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And I told her that, and I was like, you like to date, you have overcome every single challenge, one way or another. You got through it.
Brilliant.
And just that little realization for me was extremely powerful. I'm like, oh.
But and you just said the word as you were talking, it's not a fix. It's a realization.
Yes.
Like that sounds like therapy where there's no treatment. Like there's not some magic buzzy sticks, right? Like those
are cool. They can help.
Oh, right. And
it's an aid. Sure.
I'm not knocking it, but that's not
what it's doing it.
No.
It's not the buzzy sticks.
Right.
Yeah. It's not even, right? We got psychedelic medicine. We talked about drugs earlier. We talked about it again, right? Like that's a big deal right now. There's a ton of research into psychedelic medicine, right? Really, this is ancient shit, dude. We've been freaking giving teenage boys to make them men. We've been giving them psychedelics for as far as back as we can tell.
Peyote and go on a vision quest,
thing,
bro.
Yeah, you want to find yourself. You want to meet God. Yeah. Really, you want to meet death, which is God, right?
Yeah.
You got to go face it. The inevitability of your end has to be addressed.
Right.
And that's what psychedelics can bring you to that end, and you can meet it, and you can go like, oh, actually, this end thing is not real. I am more than just this life thing.
Right.
We are more than just these individuals. We are actually all interconnected in this giant web, and we should probably work together. And when we do, things are better, and then we're not lonely, right? But the problem is people walk around with all this pain, and they're so afraid of their pain, and their pain is such a motivator that they keep doing the painful things to other people because they think that the other people are going to hurt them and cause more pain. So I got to do pain to you before you do pain to me because I got to keep you over there because we're not the same. We're different. Which is the logic of that is fallacious, right? Mm-hmm. Which is insane to me, right? Like I'm hurting you and you're hurting me because we're both afraid of each other. That's literally the same fucking thing. Right? Mm. So when we can start realizing like, oh, the reason why you're hurting me is because you're lonely and scared too. Me too. Wait a second. If we're both lonely and scared and we're both here together, maybe we don't have to be lonely and scared because we're together, right? Why do people go to, like you talk to people who go to prison? They don't want to leave. They feel a community there.
Right. When you talk about the interconnectedness of everything, is that within a religious framework in your mind or outside of that?
You know, I think when you look at the spiritual stuff, okay, we'll just go straight up physical, right? So, not to bring up drugs again, but sure, why not?
Why not?
So you guys have heard of this stuff called mycelium. Have you heard about mycelium?
Yeah.
It connects literally all the fungi on the planet is all interconnected through one gigantic interweb.
It's like Avatar.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
It's literally like freaking Avatar.
Yeah.
On the planet. Where do you think you got the idea? I mean, he didn't just come out of nowhere. Right. Yeah. Right. That's so there's this thing that's connecting all this fungi stuff together, right? Okay. That's weird. Well, nature is this blueprint for life, right? So maybe there's something here that connects all of us human beings too. Let's look at nature, called gravity.
Right.
Gravity pulls everybody into the earth. Well, really, if you really look at it from a physical perspective, we're just these weird little antennas sticking off this giant ball flying through space. Mm-hmm. Endless nothingness that's constantly expanding, weird. And here we are flying through, just circling around this big old giant orb of energy. And I'm this little antenna sticking off for this little short period of time, and I get to like experience this cool thing. That's simply put, that's what I am. Mm. And everything that's connecting us is this force that pulls us all in together. Interesting. Call it gravity. But what if that force that's pulling us all in together isn't just the physical force? What if it's a spiritual force? What would that be? And the Stoics write about this. Mm-hmm. The great philosophers write about this. What is that thing that connects us all?
A providential cosmos is what they talk about.
Yeah, the ether.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you want to know what I think it is?
Yeah.
Right?
I do.
It could be a mental thing, right? This Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious. I just think it's simple, man. I just think it's love.
And I think it's been around since the beginning, and I think there was some simpler recognition of it. This is going to sound real weird, but I was watching this documentary last night on Neanderthals.
I love that.
Yeah, but
I mean, such a cool sentence.
Yeah, I know. It was like, those are my people. No. So they found a whole bunch of bones in the cave, and in Neanderthals, it was always kind of an insult, right? Like, you're a big dumb animal. You club her and drag her back to your cave. I still do that regularly on Sundays usually, but regardless, like, Neanderthals were supposed to be like the humanoid, but they weren't as socially intelligent. Blah 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 blah. Well, they're going back and they're finding these. Finding bones, and they're finding skeletons of Neanderthals when they lived together in these little bands. And on some of them, they're finding these very specific, like, cut marks in some of their bones. So, and their indication is they're family members, but when they die, they would consume each other, which sounds real weird, but you're talking 75,000 years ago. And it does not appear to be for cannibalistic intent, right? Where it was ritualistic almost. Where it was like they were taking on their life, or there was some sort
life force or something.
Right, but
like, you're with me forever now.
Yeah, so
something like that.
When we talk about this, it's almost like at our simplest, at our core, there was some recognition of connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
maybe I won't eat you, but I mean, there was some, like, there was some. It certainly appeared that way. The way that they were looking.
And I wonder if we've, as we've, evolved as humans, lost some abilities. You mentioned epigenetics earlier, and that realm fascinates me. So, I mean, did we have other ways to communicate, in our minds more? Were we more connected as a people a long time ago? Yeah. And then as epigenetic changes happened through whatever diet.
Have you guys seen Pluribus?
Yeah.
No,
I just watched it. It'll trip you out, dude.
It's trippy.
Good. It's good, yeah.
But it's like this virus that comes to the earth, and they all communicate through, like, a radio frequency, and they're all super interconnected. It's like one big,
like a hive mind.
It's a trip.
The people lose their individuality, but then everything is for the hive mind. And there's only a few people on Earth, like 11 or something, that were immune to the virus.
Yeah.
So it's through one of their eyes of, like, experience Pluribus. Yeah.
It's like a horror movie.
No, it's a show, and it's
Vince Gilligan, dude.
It's cool.
Vince Gilligan. So Breaking Bad, the guy who wrote Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, it's his show.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of that pace, real slow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting, and I think so to kind of come back to, like, this interweb of connectivity, right? Like, if you go back to, like Hindu traditional belief systems, and even this kind of blends into, like, some other Eastern stuff. They call it Indra's net, and it's this web of connectivity that we all have. And when we would drop pictures, they would drop pictures of it. It was this like net, that web that connects everybody through their hearts, right? It wasn't through our minds; it was through our hearts. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing. As I've sat with people, what we want to do is we want to conceptualize, we want to understand, we want to make sense of, but that is not life. Life is not a thought. I have ideas about life. Life is about a felt experience, right? And that's why I think the love thing is really the thing that connects us. When you talk about God or whatever, it's this felt sense, this feeling that I have, like, what connects me to my family right now. They're not here, but that I would do anything for them. If they got a phone call right now, something's wrong, dude, money is no object. We're on a plane. I'll do anything for those people because they're my people. Why? Because of the connection that I feel to those people. It's the felt connection. It's not this idea of, well, a dad's supposed to be there for all the kids all the time. No, it's like, I just freaking love these kids and I would do literally anything for them. But the betrayal of that's where real pain comes in, right? And that's built into us as human beings, right? That shame, that feeling of betrayal of self, of the love, that's where we feel the most pain. And a lot of times that's self-inflicted. But when that happens, one human to another, a father to a son, a mother to a daughter, or whatever, or a husband to a wife, or like cheating, right? Like, brutal, right? What is that? That's a soul wound, bro. That's not just like, I'm going to go out and do what I want to do. Again, we underestimate our influence on other people. Those wounds that we carry on our heart, man, that's what makes us us. And what we choose to do with that and how we choose to show up is the measure of our character and the indicator of the quality of our experience.
I literally went through that last week. It's on a different level, not my wife. I was having a conversation with some friends about a previous relationship. I was married briefly before my wife, 20 years ago. I've not talked to this person since. And the cheating thing came up. She was a terrible human being in many ways. You know this. I won't get into it. But there was that aspect of it. And I hadn't thought about her in years. I have not talked to her at all in 20 years. And then having this conversation like brought that back up inside me. And I had this like, I don't want to say break, but I had an emotional rift for about a week where I was like going through the weirdest emotions of shame for being even dumb enough to get involved in a relationship like that I knew from the beginning was going to be a disaster. Guilt, I don't know, like rehashing the pain of going through the breakup. It was fucking weird, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like it cropped back up.
Yeah, my wife was very patient and endured it. I appreciated that. But yeah, like, wow, 20 years later, something like just a brief conversation can bring it right back.
Indelible mark on your soul, man.
Yep.
There it is. And it's a part of you in some way, shape, or form. So that part of me just kind of wakes up and goes, hey, don't forget about me, right?
Yeah.
There's this thing that happened and it's there and it mattered to us. And we kind of had to shove that away for a while because it was so painful. But maybe now there's enough distance from it that we could bring it up again and we can kind of go dig around a little bit and explore this a little bit and understand something about it now that we couldn't see then. And that will help me understand me better and help me understand my relationship to life better.
What I'm not good at is I'm really good at forgiving other people.
Sure.
Like phenomenally good at it. I let shit go easily. I'm not very good at forgiving myself.
So let's pause for a second. Can I be a therapist?
Yeah, hit me, dude.
Just notice that idea just surfaced out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
That just inadvertently, I said that stuff about I could learn something about myself. And then you, probably not trying to make any specific connection to that's the thing I'm going to learn, spontaneously, here's this thing about me that I'm aware of that has a direct relationship to this really painful moment. That's curious. I wonder why that's the thing that showed up.
Why is it so easy? You know, Eric you don't ever piss me off, to be honest. But if you did piss me off,
give it time.
Dave's not here. If Dave was here,
give it time, dude.
I can have a pretty fucking heated altercation with one of my homies, and then within an hour, I'm like, I'm over it. But when it's me, like, is that okay? Man, I'm gonna self-analyze myself here. Maybe it's trying to live to a higher standard, and it could come back to childhood. You know, parents be like, I expect this from you, and like blah blah blah, and then I don't feel like I'm living up to that standard, and so it's like a disappointment in myself. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know, but I'm terrible at it.
So
I'll beat the shit out of myself.
How vulnerable you want to get?
Oh, I'm good, dude. Send it.
So let's notice for a second that all of that work that was just done is cognitive. It's all thinky stuff. But when I go into my body and I think about the feeling that comes up when I have this desire to want to forgive myself, and just take a moment, what do you notice in your body as you talk about wanting to forgive yourself?
It doesn't feel good, and the word weakness comes to mind.
So let's just notice the weakness is there.
Okay.
That maybe there's this idea that I have now in my head that because I struggle to forgive myself, that makes me weak. What do you notice as you feel that in your body?
It's just like the gross feeling, but then, as I talk through it and think about it rationally, I'm like, all right, it's like a slight release, right? I could probably.
Where do you notice it in your body?
Like in my throat.
If you were to just take just a moment and get curious towards that energy in your body and just notice what's there and just ask that energy in your body, if it could say something or if it had like words around it, maybe it had something to do with the weakness or maybe there's a memory there or something. What do you notice as we get curious?
I don't know. feels emotional a little bit. I'm not going to cry, though.
No, you haven't cried since you were 7. That's a whole nother thing, Doc.
He's like, oh, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So that tenderness, right?
Yeah.
That now is creating like a shit ton of heat and your whole face is red and there's little tears
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out, right?
I'm mildly uncomfortable right now.
It's right there on the surface. You're like, what is this wizard doing to me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's the work, right? And when we're doing therapy, so if you can see now on the camera, his face is almost purple.
It's red.
Because we hit the thing.
Yep.
Right? There's something there. That's a little, if we tugged on that little thread and we shook it, we'd go back and we'd find some origin story, memory stuff there. And if we dug around in that a little bit, we'd find this part of us, right? That carries pain, that's been locked away, that needs to be addressed, that needs to be acknowledged, that needs to be cared for, loved on. And when I love these parts of me that hold this pain and I give them permission to release it, I create massive change in my life, right? This goes way back to Carl Jung in the 1930s and 40s, right? As he's watching World War II happen. He's studying the soul. He realizes that there's different parts of the human psyche and parts of people, they call them archetypes. And nowadays, there's this treatment modality that I use. It's called internal family systems. It's remarkable. And it uses kind of somatic therapy stuff, which I do with you. Thank you for letting me do that out of nowhere. No permission.
All good, dude.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, right? And what it does is it unearths this stuff within us that is buried deep down. And it's buried in there because we're afraid of what it might do if we let it out. But what we realize as we interact with these parts of us that carry this pain and we let them out and we let them express themselves, we realize that they're the most beautiful parts of us. They're the ones, they're the parts of us that really do the most loving, kind things. They're the parts of us that have been shut down. And the reason why we don't forgive ourselves is because maybe there's a part of me that believes I don't deserve to be forgiven. Mm-hmm. And if I could work with that and let myself understand that, like, well, of course I deserve to be forgiven. And I can forgive myself. Well, what do I want to forgive myself for? Oh, shit. So one time this thing happened, and it was terrible, and it sucked, and I just feel like a piece of shit about it. And okay. Get it out. And you cry about it. And that's the release comes from tears, man. That's the tears, the release, right? People do these psychedelics. You put them on shrooms, you put them on MDMA, you put them on freaking LSD. They're doing stuff with that. You do right? If you guys haven't seen this In Waves and War documentary on Netflix, holy shit. The ibogaine stuff, go watch it. Blow your mind. In Waves and War. What do? You bawl your fucking face off for hours and you just release. And what that's doing is it's giving the emotional center of your brain permission to communicate with other parts of your brain. And you're literally creating neurological connections. You're creating new synaptic connections in your brain, new ways for the brain to fire. The different sections of your brain, which there are 4, front left, front right, back left, back right, that all have different purposes. Logic, front left is super duper logical, back left is really, really emotional, back right is very mindful and present and impulsive, front right is very emotional but really present in emotions and very creative and connected. When I get all those parts of my brain to communicate together at the same time, right, which tearfulness will allow for that, I create new connections in what's called the corpus callosum, which is that your brain is in 2 parts, and in the middle there's this connected web of connections, right? Synapses and neurons. That corpus callosum, the stronger it is and the better your left and right brains can communicate, the more contented a person is, the more fulfilled a person is, the better you're going to sleep, the safer you're going to feel, the more connected to you are. And that's what this work does. So that's why the emotional aspect needs to happen at the same time the logical aspect is there. And we make these connections of the mind and we go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I feel it and bam, I'm literally creating new connectivity between different parts of my brain, different sides of my brain. And it changes me because you are you because of your brain's connections. And so everybody's like, oh, therapy is kind of cool. Like, man, we'll go and we can talk about all our problems and vent. No, that's not what therapy is. It's healing, right? Like,
And work.
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's not easy.
I'm sitting here wondering, like, and I have a great life. My life now is literally amazing. I mean, amazing. I work with awesome people. I like to go to work every day. I have a great relationship with my family. I have everything I want. But I'm like, I wonder how my life could be improved if I continue down that road, right? Like,
yeah, that's the best.
How good can it get?
My favorite word in the English language is maybe. Yeah, it's so good because it's possibilities, hope, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe my life could be improved. Okay, where would you start? What would you do first? First step. What would that look like, right?
My kids hate that word, by the way, because they're like, hey, can we do this? I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, which always means no, and I'm going to fix that. That was one of the things I said to them. I'm going to fix that because it always means no. But man, listening to you talk about it, it's I think I'm pretty good at doing this from the outside. I'm not sure I'm good at doing it on the inside, but
it's a skill. It's practice, and and this is the thing that people, right? I hear this all the time. Oh, I'm not good at it. No shit. You need a teacher.
Right.
You got to go to school. Well, what's a therapist? What's work? What's really? And when you look at first responders, you want to know the best medium for actually creating change. This is straight out of the data. Group therapy, better than anything else. Better than one-on-one. Why? You guys know. You want your homies there. You want your buddies. You want to connect with each other.
Well, not only that, but hearing somebody that you don't think would ever talk about that, and then they come out and they're like, damn, I've been feeling that same thing, but all right, now I can talk about it. You know, it makes it okay.
And the different perspective, right? You've probably been to a critical incident debrief. I've only been to one, shockingly, but hearing the perspectives of the other guys that were there, the dispatchers, I was like, oh, like I didn't even notice that, and like that was cool. Yeah. So yeah, I could see.
Well,
sure.
I've seen it at a very micro level because I coached youth sports, boys football, and something bad happens, something tragic, and in their world, that's everything, right? Yeah. They're in that moment, man. Like they assign all of their value to that and what's going on, and then mess up. And they come over and they're devastated and they're still learning emotion. And it's crushing them. Like I'm watching it, and I've used that exact line. I said, look at him and say, hey, buddy, first one that's got to forgive you is you.
Yeah.
Because I already do. So is everybody else. But you got to forgive you. And then there's been those times where it's like, okay, right? And you just see like that's just a little micro spot in that moment. But is it that simple? No. Maybe. Well, I mean, there's work. Man, there's work. But
just hearing you say that, I'm like, I'm fucking terrible. So bad at
that.
I know.
I
just like want to punish myself sometimes.
Yes. So
that's where it comes from.
What I'm saying is, how dare I coach them if I can't do it, right?
Yeah, I'll be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we hold on to a lot of stuff, right? Like think about it. I got this lifeline. I got this idea of me, right? And I got to hold on to it. I got to death grip that. No pun intended, right? Literally. Because if I'm not this, then what am I? And I'm holding on to this stuff. And what do I got to do? What is forgiveness? What is really, and it's not really forgiveness, it's acceptance of what is. It's resisting what is, right? You look at the East, how do they define suffering? Resistance to the reality of our existence, that it is painful, that it is filled with disappointment, and that my expectations for how things are supposed to be are what's creating my suffering. I needed to just stop expecting things to be different and accept them as they are. I'm holding on to this idea that something should be different about me, that I'm not good at something and I should be. Well, I'm learning, I'm practicing, I'm growing. I can let go of this idea that I'm supposed to be something that I'm not at the moment, right? Like I don't need to be good at therapy. I don't need to be good at letting myself forgive myself, right? Like I'm working on it. That's good enough, right? What are you tell these football kids, right, as their coach, right? What are you telling them to do? You're telling them to let go. Quit holding on to something that just happened. That's the past. Let it go and be here now. I need you to show up on the field. I need you to do your job. If you stay stuck in the past on that play that was just there, are they going to be able to show up on the next play? Nope. Same thing applies in life. So I can't forgive myself because I'm holding on to something from the past. What do I got to let go of, right? I'm realizing now that as I connect with other people, I was going to say like the group therapy thing, the reason why it works is because we're connected. You went to the first responder conference yesterday and you left and you're like, oh man, I don't even know why I feel so different. You want to know why? You connect with people. You didn't feel so alone for once. You've got all these people you're like who are like me and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not a freaking weirdo. Right? I can let go of this idea that I'm different or that I'm not good enough or whatever because I'm just like them. Let go. That's all it is. And as much as everybody's like, that's overly simplistic, it's really not. It's very challenging to do given our conditioning. Culturally, societally, familially, right? I've been conditioned to believe that I have to reevaluate the past freaking Monday morning quarterback it
Yeah.
all the time and analyze, think, cognitive, brain, right? I got to analyze it and then I'll be better. Maybe not.
Wild. Dude, we could sit here and talk. I am not going to let you get out of here without you talking about your list of supplements that you like and why you like them. Because, dude, we could talk about this, and we're going to definitely drop your podcast. If you guys like this conversation and you want to hear more like it, what is your podcast?
Finding Strength Podcast.
Awesome. I took a picture.
How are you doing on time, Matt? You good for a little bit?
Oh, yeah, I got nowhere to go now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
I spoke yesterday. I'll go head back to the conference whenever.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're
we're good.
Cool.
Because I want to hear
You guys
your
let me
take
know
on,
when you're done too.
Yeah.
No, I got nothing to do.
Good.
I want to hear your take on hormones too. So
For sure.
I'd like to get into all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know where you want to begin, but it's kind of all related, I think. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. Kind of the way I look at it is like the human thing, right? Where all these human things is that we talked about the mind, we talked about the body, and we talked about the soul, right? Hormones is just an element of the chemistry of the body, right? Like when you feel the emotion of sat earlier when you got all freaking flustered and red and stuff, it's because there was a physiological reaction in the body that was motivated by chemistry. The chemicals that are in there is hormones, right? I'm not a hormone expert. I'm not an endocrinologist, right? I dabble in this stuff because I think it's fascinating. And I found that it relates to mental health quite significantly and physical health, just overall health, right? So one of the main hormones people talk about is cortisol levels, right? We hear about this all the time. You can actually get your cortisol levels tested. Just look it up. Cortisol test. You spit in this little tube, they send it there.
I don't even need to. I know they're high.
Yeah, and the thing about cortisol that's really interesting is it might be high, but when is it high? The timing of cortisol release is really super important. And so one of the things that I work with people a lot on is just using light and sleep and exercise and cold exposure, right? Just a little bit of, we call it eustress exposure, to be able to recalibrate the timing of cortisol release, because you want cortisol to release in the morning and then kind of dip down in the afternoon and kind of really level off at night so you can sleep well. Unfortunately, when you're doing shift work, when you're stressed all the time, those cortisol levels get kind of all out of whack, right? Which then in turn has you get these compensators, right? Which sometimes test will like jump way up or dip way down, and cortisol has to compensate for that because testosterone is a big energy booster. So that's why a lot of people go get their testosterone checked, because as soon as you get your testosterone levels kind of leveled out, they can modulate some of the other hormones that are in there, which is really important for a lot of people. So that's why getting your test checked is probably super important. Probably one of the top things I would recommend, especially for men. Just go get your testosterone checked. You're not going to be able to do it with your primary care physician because they won't give you shit unless you're at 300, below 300, which is like if you're below 300, some of it's even like 250 depending on the state. You're walking around like a freaking 90-year-old man, dude.
Yeah, you're barely above the levels of a woman.
Yeah, that's rough.
No offense, I love women, but I've been on TRT for over 2 years now.
Yeah, me too. Game changer, huh?
Game changer.
Yeah, I love it.
I wish. I said when I was on shift work, I worked graveyards for 7 years straight at least, and I went to my doctor in that time, my normal doctor, and he's like, "Here's what he said: Do you get morning wood?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Then you don't need it." He never tested it. He would not test it. He would not put me on it. And I felt like shit all the time. Yeah. And that would have changed my life so significantly back then. Yeah. So I didn't get on it until 2 years ago, which was.
So I got an organization that I love called Men's Revival. They do a great job testing hormones for people, getting your levels back on point. Based out of Arizona, I'm buddies with those guys. They do some really good work.
So where I go to a local place here they do hormone stuff, but all I'm on is testosterone. Yeah. Are you on any other hormonal stuff?
So I'm not right now, but I have some buddies who are doing the peptide thing, which are really hard to get, right? Kind of get those under the table. A lot of guys love the peptides now.
I'm all in on peptides too, yeah.
Yeah, there's some really amazing ones. I've been on different ones for different periods of time. Right now I'm kind of I'm phasing out of that stuff and getting back on some of them. But, the BPC 157, people love that one. I've got some really great results out of that one. That Wolverine stack BBT 157 and what is it?
TB 500.
TB 500. That Wolverine stack, that's a good one. People really like that a lot. Also, disclaimer: I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to anything I say. I'm an idiot.
And y'all know I'm definitely not a doctor. Same.
But some of those peptides can be really good. But I'm just a huge fan of like simple supplements, like mushroom stacks, right? Like lion's mane is fantastic.
Dude, Paul Stamets.
Dude, Stamets is a genius, man.
I fucking love that dude.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, chaga. I mean, these are simple. You can grow these in your house, right? Like I've grown lion's mane before. If you've never had lion's mane, like you can grow it in a little mushroom kit. Swear to God, I had people over to the house. We made lion's mane freaking crab cakes. It tastes like crab. It's amazing. Yeah,
dude.
It's so wild.
I would like to get into that
It's
and
pretty
have
wild.
my little mushroom garden.
Yeah, it's fun stuff, man.
Psilocybin tucked in.
Yeah,
just
just
kidding.
a
That's a
little bit.
felony in Idaho. I'm just kidding.
Just a felony.
Yeah, no big deal.
But like the functional mushroom game is a big deal, man.
Because you talked about that
over the
mycelium
place.
earlier.
Yeah,
that
dude.
the interconnectedness of everything, and I am all in. When I hear Paul Stamets talk, I've heard him on Rogan a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Yeah,
And
he's great.
yeah, that is something we dabble with as well. And he sells like a
There's
supplement that
stacks
has
all
all
over
of
the
that
place.
in there. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I take Shroom Zoom is the one that I like. It's got a bunch of different ones in it. I didn't get off Amazon. Really like that. I've taken that for a long period of time. But the supplement that there's a couple that I like the most especially for like focus and energy. My absolute favorite is going to be L-tyrosine.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
What is this?
It's an
I've even heard of that.
It's an amino acid.
Okay.
It's an amino acid. So a lot of docs right now, instead of prescribing Adderall, are starting with tyrosine because it helps. Tyrosine.
Thank you.
Because it helps with dopamine production.
Interesting.
And I like that in combination with lion's mane and cordyceps, because lion's mane can help with brain stimulation. It kind of takes a little longer to work. Lion's mane, you're going to have to take it for a while, like a week or so, before it really starts to do the thing that it does. But lion's mane promotes what's called neurogenesis, which is super important, which is your brain's ability to recreate and regrow neurons and those connections, create those synaptic connections in your brain. Lion's mane has been shown in research all over the place to be very effective at doing that. Cordyceps, taken daily, well, regularly, maybe not even daily, helps with ATP production and mitochondrial health, which are huge, alongside L-tyrosine, which can be great for creating focus, increasing levels of dopamine in the brain for short periods of time. We're talking, Adderall will last for 16 hours, and so the half-life's like 8. This is like 4 hours, and the half-life's like 2, tyrosine. So, check your dosages, what works for you, what doesn't. I like what's recommended on the bottle for most people. Another one that I love, it's another amino acid that's now being used in everything. I think everybody should have this in their medicine cabinet at all times. It's called L-theanine. It's powerful stuff. It's really safe. It can help with sleep, can help with relaxation. I've got, I work with some pretty freaking gnarly spec ops guys who've got some really brutal overseas trauma, like killing kids and stuff, like rough, right? And that's the very first thing. I'm like, go get some theanine, dude. We got to get you off the benzos because that is making this shit worse. Let's go get some theanine. And the next time you have a panic attack, I want you to practice some breathing. I want you to maybe hop in a cold plunge. Or work out, whichever feels more appropriate to you. And I want you to take some theanine and tell me what happens. 100% of those guys come back and go, what the hell? How did I not know about this? It's a game changer.
Then why are benzos prescribed in the manner that they are over some
Big
of
pharma, bro.
I know.
Ding, 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 ding.
I've got my own.
It's a racket.
Yeah, but dude, I've got my own beef with benzos anyways
Oh,
because
dude.
I ran our opiate task force with PD, so we ended up on a lot of teenagers' phones, right? And when I'm looking at this, and everybody says, "Oh, marijuana is a gateway drug," that was the thing when I was in DARE, when I was in school, right? And I always said, if you're chilling in your garage, smoking a bowl, eating Funyuns, working on your truck, I don't care. But I found weed alongside some other really hard drugs, but never thought that was a real gateway. What is benzos?
Benzos
I
is
could.
a huge gateway.
What's
If
an
kid-
example of a like a
Xanax.
Oh, okay.
So
Xanax, Valium, Ativan.
I just got that
Yeah.
from my flight.
So I'm telling you though, man, like when
In non-regular use, Xanax can be actually extremely helpful for really what it's for. It's for panic attacks.
yes,
Sorry.
no, but when I could almost time it, if they were abusing benzos to where they would start taking other pills, fentanyl. I mean, and I'm talking about like in high school. Benzos that was the slippery slope. And it's not that they're bad. There's absolutely a medicinal purpose. We're just never intended to take those recreationally.
That's so weird. They just make me tired.
Yeah.
That's why I take them on a plane.
Yeah, they do. They help
make
with
you
sleep. They give you really shitty sleep, but they'll knock you out. They might as well be a sedative. The thing about benzodiazepines that's really dangerous, right, is regular benzodiazepine use has so many adverse health effects, it's not even funny. More importantly, if you detox off heroin by yourself, you won't die. If you detox off of benzodiazepines by yourself and you don't do it with medically tight, like actually weaning yourself off these drugs, you could die.
Wow, damn.
Man.
Yeah, benzos are crazy. They're very, very dangerous. The absolute 100% worst stories I've ever heard in my entire 20-year career of doing mental health stuff, benzos. Absolute worst.
No shit.
Way worse than heroin. Because when you OD on benzos, you black out. Like significantly black out. Because benzos basically like pill alcohol.
I've heard that.
And so your hippocampus, right, that's creating all your memories, right, at about 0.13 or so BAC, blood alcohol content, your hippocampus starts to shut down. That's when people black out, right?
Been there many a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. Don't remember them, but they were great. But benzos, they'll do that, but it doesn't come off very quickly. Like alcohol, right? Your body doesn't process this. So it'll last hours, and especially if you're stacking or whatever, with heroin, which is what a lot of times they do. And it fucks these kids up. I cannot tell you the horror stories. I stole a car. I freaking robbed a bank. I raped a girl. I don't even remember. Like, these are stories I've heard from 20-year-old kids telling me these things. I don't remember doing this, Matt. I swear to God.
Me too. Dude, I had that interview with the kid that he's like, it was a juvenile overdose death.
Yeah.
And he's like, I could have, man. I was on benzos. Like, and he flat out knew it. He's like, I have no idea. I have no idea what I did that day.
So lock your cupboards. If you have controlled substances, parents, you do not realize what these kids are doing. You may not know this. There's these parties. They're called Skittle parties. You guys heard of these?
Yep.
Hell
They
yeah.
go to the house.
That's
They just dump pills in a gigantic bowl. And if it says may cause dizziness or may cause drowsiness, they're dumping it in a bowl, taking handfuls of it, popping them, and just freaking
terrifying.
going wild.
That's
It's all over the place, dude. And it's anyways.
Anyway, sorry, we're going off on that. You mentioned benzos, bro. Yeah,
benzos is gnarly, but that's why I like theanine, because theanine is very, very safe. It's an amino acid. It can help with panic attacks. It can help with just mood regulation in general. My favorite supplement besides tyrosine. Those two I take I took them this morning, every single day. I like alpha GPC as well as for energy and focus and stuff like that.
What's your morning routine like? Do you drink coffee right in the morning, or do you avoid caffeine?
Oh, you're about to hear this.
Yeah,
buddy.
Send it.
So I wake up, 6:30. For me, I'm a hot tub guy, so I wake up, I get right in my hot tub, I'll sit in there, I'll do some breathing exercises. You're not supposed to do them in the hot tub, but I freaking whatever. Yeah, don't do breathing exercises in the water. Don't follow my example, but I do. We get in there. My wife and I have this moment every morning, and we either watch the sunrise together, but we also hop in the cold plunge. Sometimes we'll do contrast back and forth. I don't have a sauna at the house yet. If I did, I'd sauna every day. Do that. That takes about 20 minutes or so. Cold plunge, and then I have a gym in my basement. Go downstairs, lift, bike, different stuff. Just kind of mix it up. About 3-4 days a week, I'm doing kettlebells and lifting and stuff like that. Trying to do whole body pretty much regularly, and then doing some cardio in there as well, mixing in a couple days a week. I try to do yoga about once or twice a week, somewhere in there. Throw in some sauna if I can. Just about every day I do that routine, and then I get sunlight as soon as the sun's coming up. I'm outside trying to get that sunlight directly into my eyes. It's just beautiful, beautiful energy. Just that soul-filling, soul-rejuvenating sun. Watching that thing come up over the mountains in my backyard, can't beat that. I try to do that as many days a week as possible. And I get those 4 things. I call them the 4 for free, right? Breath, cold, movement, sunshine. You get those 4 things in every day, you're golden. And then I wait somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 minutes or so to have caffeine.
Is that a cortisol thing?
It's an adenosine thing.
Okay.
So adenosine is when you wake up in the morning and you feel groggy, it's because of the buildup of adenosine in your brain. And it takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 90 minutes for all that adenosine to kind of like slough off. And that's why you have that grogginess period. If you're drinking coffee really early or tea or caffeine or whatever before all that adenosine is sloughing off, it's actually blocking it from being basically chewed up by the brain. And it will kind of store it. And it's still in there, not yet quite processed. And then once caffeine wears off, caffeine has a half-life of 4 to 6 hours, right? So do the math, 4 to 6 hours later, all of a sudden, guess what you're feeling? Crash. Why? Because there's all that leftover adenosine in there that's now showing up in addition to kind of some tired chemicals that are still in there because it's normal for your afternoon crash to happen. It kind of accentuates that and you feel that big crash. So I learned that's a Huberman thing. I'm a big Huberman nerd, man. I freaking might as well worship that guy. Someday I'm going to meet him.
Kind of looks like him too.
Yeah.
No, thanks. Yeah. He grew up in he grew up in Northern California. I'm Southern California, so.
Had we known, next conference,
Yeah.
you come out, we're going to go bust through some ice.
Let's go, man.
We'll go cold plunging,
Oh,
and then
I'm
we'll
in.
hit up.
Yeah,
Let's do
I'm
it.
super fascinated about the coffee thing. I was literally thinking about that this morning because I woke up and I was like, I felt pretty awake.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just a routine now of like I have my, and I drank a pretty heavily caffeinated tea, so it's pretty much like coffee. It's just not coffee.
What tea do you drink?
I get this tea. It's called high calf tea, and they add
Like
caffeine
black
to
tea
it.
and stuff?
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
yeah.
I love tea. I'm an afternoon tea drinker guy.
It's
Pinky up, buddy.
good. It doesn't make leave that shitty aftertaste of
Yes.
coffee because I don't
Yeah.
put a bunch of crap in coffee to make it. You can make coffee very sweet and delicious. Yes, you can, but I don't do that. So
I drink tea.
right,
No
so
judgment.
So it's black. But yeah, I was like, I don't. And then I've known this for years, but I go back and forth. If I drank caffeine in the afternoon, I am generally more tired right after I drink it. And I've always assumed that's because my adrenals are shot. I don't know if that's true or not, but so usually I'll just drink decaf if I want something, but no, it's going to cause the effect of making me tired. If I drink decaf, it doesn't seem to do that.
Well, I listened to him yesterday. He was the last speaker. To be honest, it's the only reason I didn't sneak out of there early because I knew we were going to be on the podcast. But it was good. No, truly, he mentioned that. He said, hey, don't drink caffeine for 90 minutes. And I did that this morning. And zero, it was better.
Huh.
It was. Now, mind you, I woke up an entirely changed human today.
You had a big shift.
Yeah, there was
for a number of reasons.
But I will say I didn't miss it at all. Get up, drink water, go crank
Water.
out some push-ups. And
I should mention that I do drink water and electrolytes and lemon juice every day.
Okay.
That's a big part of my routine.
Could I get up and have an herbal tea?
Yeah.
Because that
you
would
like
give
that,
me
the ritual.
The ritual, dude. That's like what I turn on the fireplace. I sit down. I'll journal. I avoid social media in the morning because I've learned that lesson. Usually.
yeah, stay out of the matrix, bro.
Usually. But I'll journal. And if the muse has gifted me with the desire to write poetry, I will write poetry that morning.
that.
But that ritual is critical. But I could totally.
Do you stay inside the whole time?
Yeah. Here's my situation. I'm in a crappy rental currently while we're building our dream home. So when my dream home is done, the view out the back will be where the sun rises, and that will be it. But here's the other thing I do, because you mentioned mitochondrial health, and that is a big deal for me. I have a full-size red light bed.
Yeah, red light's huge.
So I do that every morning. That is the first thing I do when I wake
There you
up.
go.
Yeah,
So,
it's not natural sunlight, but it's
No,
pretty
red
good.
light's game changer. Can be
Yeah.
very, very, very valuable.
I actually came from a Huberman podcast. He had a guy talk about the dangers of LED lights and fluorescence and the benefits of red light, and that I'm all in.
Yeah,
and those red light beds are not cheap.
No, they're not.
But
that's legit.
yeah, but I noticed the benefits to that in a number of ways. So I do that at least 10 minutes every morning.
Great.
For those out there that are listening to this, because I'm making my own list, right?
Yeah.
And knowing myself, I'm like, all right, damn. You know what I mean?
Too
all right,
many things. What am I supposed to
I need
do?
to get up. I need to go jump in the lake. I need to get in the sauna. I got to go in the hot tub. I got to work on some breathing exercises. I got to chug some lemon juice. All right, now I'm going to go eat every mushroom in my yard, right? For that person out there that's like, damn, let's, babe, I'm practicing, right? I'm growing. What would be a really good start? Which one would you look at and say, hey, for a supplement that I think you'll get some very positive results to kind of kickstart it?
Oxygen.
Valid. Yeah.
Get outside. Wake up. Put your clothes on. Open that front door. Don't care where you are. Go outside. breathe. Big old fat, massive deep breaths. Just freaking, just pull that shit into your soul, man. That would be the very first thing I would do. If I wanted to change something in my life, I would do that, and I would get sunlight early before I would do any supplements.
Nice.
Behavioral interventions are going to be way more value than any supplementation.
Love it.
And they're free.
And they're free.
Hey, we did do that. We practiced that last night, talking to my wife about it, because we have big bright lights, and our 2 daughters are just, they're feral, and my 5-year-old especially, and they're just rambunctious, right? And which is great. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's, throwing footballs and kicking soccer balls all around the house.
Especially right before bed, right?
Yeah, and breaking shit, right? But I told her, and they were having a lot of fun, and they're laughing. I was like, babe, let's flip the lights off. Like, it's bedtime, right? And she's like, yeah, but they're having fun, so it's hard to shut that off. And I was like, it's not about that. Like, this is the root. So we did that, and actually it went really well. They ended up going upstairs, and I went and, like, they always want me to make up a story, but it was cool just to watch that. Lights.
The descent
Dude, lights
into sleep.
Yeah.
Lights are a big deal.
It's way bigger than anybody realizes. People don't use light like they should.
Right.
I've now a few months ago, what was it, 6 months ago, I got those blue light blocker glasses. People are like, it's placebo. Sure, I love it. I've been doing it almost every night. It works. And the nights I don't do it, I notice a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just wear them like watching TV and stuff?
Wear them at night. Yeah. As soon as it gets dark, I put them on.
I'm
Really?
all in on this, and I have a personal anecdote from my wife gets ocular migraines.
Ooh.
And so like light, and she relates back even as a child. She would try to get a job at Mervyn's when she was a kid, and she could only last 2 hours, and she started throwing up, and it was because of the lights. So she's super sensitive to light, and I've seen it. If she's in Target or any of these big stores that have these like booming fluorescent lights, LED lights, especially if they're sometimes you can almost see the flicker on them, they will kick her into a migraine immediately. So our new office is good because she's right next to windows, and usually people aren't turning the lights on because it's pretty bright in there, so she's fine. But the old office sucked because it was tinted windows and just lights, so she would get migraines at work all the time. And she's tried all the fucking blue blockers, and so it came down to us switching and try to find a freaking incandescent light bulb right now. It's like you can't. They're very hard to get.
You got a special order or something.
Yep.
Right?
So, but you can get halogen bulbs still, and halogen are full spectrum. So we switched a bunch of bulbs over in our house over to halogen, and it's improved quite a bit.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like human beings physiologically were designed to wake up when the sun comes up, be outside, and then when the sun goes down, you rest, and you should eat shit that comes out of the earth.
The earth that doesn't have a bunch of chemicals
Or-
sprayed on
It's
it.
a really simple
Freaking
formula, dude.
Weird.
But-
and even that, but even more simple. You go bathe in a cold creek or river, and it's good for you.
And we didn't have hot showers until about 50 years ago.
That's
folks.
what I mean.
We didn't. And we're all soft now. And everybody's all pissed off. Everybody's all anxious. Everybody's all depressed. And we're like, why? Because we're so distant from nature, man.
Yeah.
Like our nature is to be connected to the earth. That is what nature is. It's natural. And we're all into this artificial. And so, of course, our systems are going crazy and freaking out. They're screaming at us, hey, this isn't working.
Yeah.
They have to. That's the design. But what do we keep doing? We keep trying to come up with some new concoction to
Yes,
make ourselves feel
we'll
better.
make a pill for that.
Yeah.
You're right. It's so dumb.
That's what we do.
We are the sickest as a population that we have ever been, and everybody's like, oh, we need this new vaccine, we need a new pill or whatever. Like, how about we just get back to these very
Well, and I'm
basic
so glad
things?
you said that. And it sounded like a setup question, and it really wasn't. But hey, what supplement would you eat? Air, go outside, behavioral change. That is great to hear. Like, just go back and get reconnected. And it's almost like it goes back to our previous conversation about stressors, right? If you needed to bathe and it was 50 years ago, you took a cold ass shower, you went and jumped in the river, and does it feel great?
Yeah.
No. But it's just like that slight little bit of, now it's like this big deal to go jump in the lake, right? But really, it's not. Our body's been prepared. It's
It's a
not.
little shitty when it's 15 degrees out. But
Oh, well,
we still do it.
so last year we did it, or it was 2 years ago.
2 years.
I was in the lake when it was -16 just because I'm an idiot. And I was like, I'm jumping
that
in
was bad.
every day for I think I made it 76 days.
We
went in when it was
Did
negative.
you get sick or you'd fine?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
My fingers, it took
I
like-
legit got a little bit of frostbite on the tip
Yeah,
of my fingers. That it hurt for a couple days.
Yep, same.
So I don't recommend that. That was dumb.
I get my hands out now.
I do
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh, I never
It's
put
always
my hands
like in the
anymore.
praying.
Yeah.
Always. I never put my hands
Do you wear booties?
I don't wear booties.
I wear booties, dude.
Yeah, I know a lot of
my
people do wear booties. My feet don't bother me.
I do in the lake.
My feet drive me freaking.
So there's see if we had more time here, we would take you there. There's a Symmetry sauna. It's on the other side of Tubbs Hill. So that big hill next to the resort. On the other side of that is Sanders Beach, which is a cool little community.
Oh, sick.
There is a sauna studio there, Symmetry Saunas, and they've got a cold plunge, a community cold plunge. It's a big tub in the
I
in
love
ground.
that.
And then I don't know, 6 or 8 different sauna rooms, some private, and then one communal that's like a 30-person that looks out over the lake. It's stunning, dude.
Come on.
I know, dude. Next time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
rad.
absolutely.
Like, I love going there because it's so much easier. Like, we go to the lake a lot.
He likes
too.
showing off when people come to town. Is what,
I do,
but
I
it
do,
is cool.
dude.
It's super neat.
I meet a lot of cool people in the sauna.
Yeah.
But
that's my next thing about saunas that we have forgotten is the community aspect of sauna is a huge cultural thing in Scandinavia, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're the happiest people on the planet. Why? Because they live in communities together and they're friendly to each other. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but
No.
that's my
And that-
favorite thing about the sauna when I go to do sauna is
See,
it's not
people think
individual.
I'm weird
There's
when
people. No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, North Idaho's the Scandinavia of the
That's
rest. It
You know
is.
what?
It
That's
is.
actually a good little observation
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
There's a lot more human connection here than there is elsewhere, and people feel it. I'm telling you, they come here and they start talking to people at restaurants and the grocery stores, and they're like, man, why is this? My wife felt it because we came here from Florida, West Palm Beach. She grew up in Florida. She goes, why is everybody here? Like, it's just so much different. They hold
we
the door
can
open.
never lose that.
Yeah.
That's
Right, I
Safeguard
catch
that with your
myself
life,
because we
dude.
talk about it all the time. I'm like, you walk down the street, people will smile at you and say hi, and sometimes I catch myself in my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta hold that standard. I gotta hold that standard too.
Yeah.
So I make sure to look everybody in the eye, whether they want me to or not,
Brilliant.
and say hi.
Yep.
And usually it's fine. Like nobody thinks you're weird, but
Yeah.
unique place.
So like we have to, as a community, make sure we uphold that standard as
Yep,
well.
absolutely. Protect it.
Yeah.
Safeguard it.
Yeah. I will plug.
Yeah, oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
A supplement that we have not yet talked about. That's probably the one that everybody. If you were to take one, I would put 2 on the list. I would take vitamin D in the morning.
Yep.
And if I were, and creatine's probably on that list too, especially for women. But vitamin D would be the one that I would take. And then the evening, I'd take magnesium L-threonate for sleep.
Boom. I've already got a bunch of these under my belt, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
my
those
challenge.
are the 2 that I love.
Okay, here's
Yeah.
a
To
current
answer your
challenge.
question without dodging it and saying oxygen. So.
I liked it.
I was getting ready to wrap this up, but now I'm about to go down another wormhole. So fasting. Yeah. So
Let's go.
I have dabbled in the past. Did a 72-hour once 3 years ago, and I was like, that was absolutely horrible. I don't want everyone to do that again, but I might. But what I'm doing now is for the last week I've been fasting until lunch. So I eat dinner, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock somewhere. I eat fairly early because I go to bed early, and then fasting until 11 or 12 in the day. Why am I doing this? One, I've been like just eating too much and trying to cut down on caloric intake, but also I have been, my blood work forever has been pre-diabetic, which is crazy because I'm generally a pretty healthy person. Yeah. So I think maybe it's a genetic component. I don't know, but I want to reverse that because I don't like it. And I'm hoping fasting will do that. I am running into a little bit of a challenge because I usually supplement in the morning, and a lot of them I don't want to take on an empty stomach. So I'm trying to juggle that. But give me your thoughts on fasting.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. So the time restricted feeding, intermittent fasting thing for men is great. For women, it's kind of mixed. And in fact, there's some research that says that women should probably not be doing
I have
that.
seen, my wife has struggled with that.
Yeah, and especially women in working out, right? Like men can go a long period of time after working out, and we don't really need to feed. We got like a good 2-3 hour window before we need to get protein in. Women, you got about 30 minutes. Otherwise, your body's going to start eating your muscles. And in fact, most women should probably be supplementing with somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30 grams of protein prior to working out to fuel that like ATP production, but more importantly, to just actually help with muscle synthesis, right? So we're actually giving those muscles the fuel that they need to create. Men don't need that, right? That's why creatine's so important for women. But when it comes down to the fasting thing, especially for men, right, the intermittent fasting thing, you're gonna get some real good benefits, especially the caloric intake thing. One of my favorite things about the intermittent fasting is just the discipline aspect.
Yes. Every day it's like it's
tough.
Same with cold plunging. It always sucks. Cold plunging never gets fucking easy.
No.
It is a little bit of we live in a soft world, and it's a little bit of a like, fuck you. I'm gonna fuck you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something hard.
I'm gonna do something hard, right? And
Yeah.
and I feel that. I feel sharp when I'm hungry, but it's good. Like I've gone years of my life where I'm never hungry, right? Because food is readily available to us here in the United States. We're blessed, but intentionally making yourself be hungry is a bit of a mental game while you go through it.
Would you recommend it if it's daily or just one day out of the week?
So if you're going to do it one day out of the week, you're going to want to do a 24 to 36 hour fast. And I'm trying to remember, there's this, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head because I'm having a brain fart. I know exactly what this is. But basically, several years ago, they discovered that that when you do a fast that's longer than 36 hours, your body starts to be really selective with the cells that it has available. And if some of the cells are kind of like yucky and gross and junky, it eats them.
Autophagy.
That's the word I was looking for. Autophagy. And you get that at about that 24-ish hour mark, right? So sometimes you even get it at like 22. So those next 12 and a 36, ideally monthly, I'm doing a 36-hour fast.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little tougher. It's not quite a 72, but you get that the autophagy, whatever. I don't know the conjugation of it, but that autophagy for 48 hours is huge.
So you could.
Huge. But the other thing that ends up happening at about that 48-hour mark is your body begins to produce stem cells. And I'm a giant fan of meditation. And there's been some data, and a lot of it's anecdotal, but there is some more research on this. I know autophagy is widely researched. The guy who discovered autophagy literally got a Nobel Prize, right? Like, that's a big deal. It's like now used in cancer treatment.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Yeah,
all over the place.
You're starving the cells of sugar.
Right. But more importantly, what ends up happening, those stem cells, right? You can kind of direct those stem cells where you want them to go. And some people think this is woo. Dude, I don't think it is. I think that if you're a meditative practicer type person and you're in that autophagic phase where you're sitting there in autophagy and you want hunger and you want to eat and your body's just really hungry and you have pain in your body and you're focusing on where that pain is, it sounds cuckoo woo woo, but like you start sending energy to that pain spot in your body, right? People are reporting, right, like full on, I've got a sprained ankle, it won't heal, it's been there for months and months and months, or sometimes years and years and years, 72-hour fast, pain, gone. This is anecdotal, all over the place. You can look this kind of stuff up. I did some good fasting. I have some pretty bad hip pain. It doesn't bother me half as much as it used to. I've heard this all over the place. Stem cells is a big area of research. Everybody's trying to figure out how to freaking inject them into your body. Your body produces stem cells naturally, especially when you're in that autophagy phase. And this is an area that's in development and research. I'm fascinated by it, clearly. Explore this if this is something that sounds interesting to you listeners or you guys or whatever. I think this would be something that would be really cool to kind of get into a little bit more, and I'm kind of fascinated by it right now. It's kind of where I'm at, so it's interesting you talk about fasting. That's kind of my current kind of like focus.
I just started nerding out about it a little bit. What
it's kind of
you mentioned meditation. What time of day do you meditate? What's the best time?
Morning for me. I learned how to meditate in the cold plunge actually. Yeah, it's kind of how I learned.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I learned how to be really present and focus and 10 minutes a day for 8 weeks, you can measure actual literal changes in the prefrontal cortex.
I was heavy into meditation post the fire, and I think that helped me get through a lot. I was meditating every night. I'd put on like just cool ass music, like Indian flute music or something, and just zone out. And I sucked at it, right? If I got 3 good breaths, which I would consider a breath where I'm like, not chasing down a little thought, I'd be stoked. in the amount of time I was doing it. But and I noticed it's like doing a rep of anything. It's like doing a curl, right? Every time my mind keys on to a thought so here's how I picture myself as like a stone in a river, and the thoughts are flowing by me, and I'm trying not to grasp on them, but every time I grasp onto one, I'll catch myself and then like bring it back to the breath. And each one of those I think is as a rep.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it so long. I need to get back to it, dude. Because I think there's
a lot of value to it.
A lot of value in it.
I think, and the other one that I use to teach people breath stuff, you guys have a lot of notes today, is NSDR. You guys have heard NSDR. Huberman talks about NSDR. Yoga Nidra, non-sleep deep rest, same kind of thing.
Okay.
You just go on Spotify, look up NSDR. I love Intentionology, Lauren Runyon. She has a podcast on Spotify. These kind of thematic little 15, 20-minute, it's basically a meditation, but really Yoga Nidra it's Sanskrit for yogic sleep. And so it's like a super nap, and it is very meditative, and it's guided, and it's body oriented.
So you're just listening to the words and breathing along.
And so she kind of gives you an intention, and you kind of sit there, and then after a while, there's this very kind of like routine process of going through different parts of your body and relaxing, just paying attention to different parts of your body. Start at your head, and it kind of goes back and forth. There's a little like bilateral with it sometimes. And then all of a sudden, you're just like in this freaking state. You're just like chilled out. Really, your brain's gone into theta wave, which is early sleep stage, and you're just chilling there. And it's very restorative, and people can get very relaxed, and you can kind of like train your body, be like, okay, I can be relaxed and still, and my mind doesn't need to race. And I train the brain. It's like the dog, right? You train it, and then all of a sudden that becomes something that now I have this tool, this skill that's available to me, but really it's a state that I'm familiar with and I'm available to go to, that's available to me. And that state of existence of theta wave, right, now becomes something that I can get to because I've practiced it, and I can do that with sitting meditation or out when I'm in nature, because one of my favorite ways to meditate is walking meditation.
So that brings me to another thing. I think there are activities that we do in our daily lives that are very meditative. For me, it's jujitsu.
Totally, super mindful meditative. Yeah.
Right, because I've been doing it a long time, so I don't need to necessarily consciously think about the next thing I'm going to do. Yeah. It just happens. So for me, and you can't really be thinking about what you're going to make for dinner because someone's going to try to murder you, simulate murdering you while you're doing it. So you have to be in the moment. But for me, it's like no mind. A lot of time when I'm rolling, my eyes are closed even, and I'm just like just feeling it. It's wild.
Yes.
But some people that's running, some people it's whatever activity that you can hit that state, that flow state in.
Yeah, I love it. There's so much stuff, man. It's pretty wild. And I think what I don't know, I don't know if this is my life's mission or not, but just encouraging human beings to just drop into being human. I mean, we're not, the cheesy thing, right? We're not human doings. We're human beings. Just go be human, man. Go connect with somebody. Give somebody a hug if you feel like it. Go look your wife or your best friend or your buddy in the eyes and just tell them like, dude, you freaking mean something to me. And watch what happens. Just watch what you feel. Just be there for that for freaking 2 fucking seconds. And all of a sudden you're just like, oh shit, I kind of like this. And what's going to surface every single time is the ultimate game changer, which is just gratitude. I've talked about it a lot, right? When you become grateful and you practice this thing called gratitude and you realize I'm in a state of enoughness rather than lack, things line up, chemistry lines up, purpose lines up, meaning lines up. People come into your life that you hadn't thought about for years, and all of a sudden they show up and you see them at the grocery store and you're just like, dude, what's up, man? I forgot about it. And you give them a big old hug and like shit just goes your way. Sure, stuff's going to happen. That's life. But all of a sudden, you're not even asking for stuff, and you're just okay with everything, and you're good with it. And then the stuff that you want shows up because you realize that you can ask for it, but you can't get to asking for stuff, right? Like, what's prayer? Prayer is this practice of saying, I have enough. Look at all this beauty around me. Thank you, God, for what I have. Here's my intention. Here's what I would love to create. Can you help me, God? That's what prayer is, man. It's not the other way around. You don't start with, well, here's what I need. I want this and this and this. And yeah, thanks for,
A Christmas list.
That's not
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
works. And I think that's a recipe for just existence. And I think that, if we can come back to the basics and be grateful for all this technology we have, all this knowledge we have, put that into practice, share it with people, we're going to find that being human is a beautiful, wonderful, very, very short experience.
That is extremely profound, especially in today's society where social media and the media are trying to make you angry about every little thing.
Yes.
And life is extremely chaotic, and it feels like everything is against us. The government sucks, big pharma sucks, big food sucks. Like all of it is greed driven and maybe driven by the force of evil. And here we are trying to exist, and people are wondering why they're sick. So if we can just get back to that, it's not that hard.
It really is simple.
Man, in resilience training, go do hard stuff.
I love it.
Right? Do that, and then you'll be better prepared, and you won't be your emotions won't be as subject to weaponization from outside sources, right? You do that little bit of resilience training, and you push yourself to do challenging stuff, and you're gonna be like, all right, I'm not buying that, right? Like, not today. You're not gonna get me today.
Yeah.
Got the shield up. Man, that I do want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about First Watch, because when you broke that down yesterday, we got a lot of cops that listen to this, a lot of people from other agencies. If you like what we're talking about, which to me, it's hard not to like what we're talking about, because what we're talking about is your health, but health from a perspective of your community and giving back, like making the best version of yourself to better give back. It's like fix you first kind of mentality. But you guys have a totally different approach when it comes to helping first responders.
Yeah. So First Watch Wellness was developed out of a need that just kind of arose as we at Deer Hollow's been around for over a decade now, serving first responders, residential treatment, right? The best in the nation, providing all the support, all the end game stuff. When things get bad, I got an addiction, I got suicidality, things are rough, PTSD is just kicking my ass, and I need to go to a treatment center. That's what Deer Hollow is. Draper, Utah. We have 3 different houses, 10 beds max. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm one of the original kind of like founding part developers of this of Deer Hollow way back, 9 years ago. Showed up there with Dr. Amy Crawford and some other really like-minded pioneering individuals, and we just wanted to do it right. We didn't want to make money. We didn't want to freaking have the revolving door treatment thing that a lot of people have done. And that's what I had seen in my past for previous decade was revolving door treatment. People coming in, charging gobs of money, and then you'd see them again in 6 months. We wanted to get rid of that. And so Deer Hollow started out as this labor of love. Troy Long, CEO, one of my best friends, Jordan Lee, Genevieve Manor, Lisa Ferguson's our admissions director. We got some other amazing people that have been around since the beginning. And we just kind of came together and we were like, we want to make a difference for first responders. We want to heal. We don't just want people to come in and do treatment. We want them to heal for real and go back to work and be able to live their lives again, be happy, connect with their families and live. And we would do this and people would go back to work and they were like, I don't want to work. And they'd retire early. And it became really apparent that like it wasn't just individuals that needed the support, that needed the change, that needed the healing. We had to heal organizations. And so we partnered with a guy named Barry Toon, who was really innovative in the way that he kind of approached healing. And he had a telehealth company that was called First Watch. And so we pulled in First Watch, and First Watch is now part of the Deer Hollow family. And Barry Toon and Jordan and I travel all over the country doing peer support trainings. And we have a very robust clinical department with, we got like 9-something therapists now that all over the country. We serve 10,000 individuals and their families across the nation, over 60 departments, and we provide every one of their wellness needs at least once or twice a year. Every person in that department's meeting with a clinician, doing what's called a wellness checkup, not a therapy session, just sitting down via telehealth, right? Like, what's going on? Therapist is asking them, how you doing? And we're developing these relationships with the individuals in the departments. Command staff has to do it too. We're building really robust, very effective treatment teams that connect directly to these clinical teams, and we can get somebody help in less than 24 hours on average, sometimes within hours. Somebody, you have a shooting and a guy's freaking losing his mind. We can get him in with a clinician in hours, right? That's people aren't doing that. That's brand new. Nobody has ever done that before, as far as we're aware. There are other companies that are doing this now as we started it because they saw that it was possible, which is amazing and wonderful. But the main thing that we're trying to do is provide wraparound care for departments and support so that they don't have to have a wellness coordinator who's kind of piecemealing things together. We have a package deal that we come in and we provide that's evidence-based, that's got experts in the field right there at their fingertips. And we're working in tandem, gathering data in the departments, right? Part of the wellness checks is we gather anonymous data and we gather aggregate nationwide data. And we fill the needs that show up. And so one of the things that we're doing now, our big push this next year, because we saw this in a lot of the data we were gathering, is that they want spouse support. So we provide support for the spouses already. They can get all the therapy sessions they need through First Watch, but we're now creating a spouse support network, and we're creating a really robust kind of like a family program that's run by our clinical director, Stacy, who's incredible. She's like one of the most gifted human beings I've ever met. And she and I've kind of helped her a little bit put together this family program, doing an education piece, doing a big support piece, trying to pull in the spouses to have them be a little bit more involved, help them feel more involved, creating a network for the spouses that we're going to kind of support and they're going to run together. We're looking for some spouses to kind of head that thing up. And just to, we see a need, fill a need, see a need, fill a need. And that's kind of been the Deer Hollow way for the last decade. And we're just trying to innovate and really trying to be on that cutting edge of what's what the research saying is necessary. What's our data that we're collecting is saying is necessary, and implementing that as effectively and quickly as possible. And man, it has been the ride of my life, the joy of my life. I freaking love what I do. I couldn't be more in love with being able to go and do podcasts and meet other people, I mean, what a gift it is, man.
What you're really doing is you're helping. I'm part of the Red and Blue Foundation here locally, and man, what you're really doing is you're helping reshape and reduce the stigma that's attached to actually getting some treatment from, and just like going to the gym, getting people to come in and check in, right? Exactly. I think spouses is huge. If you're taking any advice or anything like that, man, I'd love to see one that's catered to kids, because now, I mean, if you took care of mom and dad, that was their sphere of influence, but kids now, it's not their sphere of influence. In the day and age of social media, where their parents are getting doxxed, or if their mom or dad gets involved in a shooting, and then all of a sudden, I mean, they're the ones that don't sign up for it.
Yes.
And it's a different animal now. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Something that would cater to that. I brought that up with our team too, where, man, because if you've got a teenager and something big happens, I mean, what they're dealing with at school is oftentimes worse than what the spouse is dealing with at home. Yeah. Right. So that'd be a cool. I'd love to see something like that.
So we do provide therapists for anyone over 12.
Cool.
And we partner with local kind of like therapist conglomerates. Like the one here that I love is Nicole Nestor and the first responder clinician support team of North Idaho. If you guys haven't heard of them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're part of the, they're in there. They're in the stable.
She's awesome. I was talking to her this morning before we came out here, and we're partnering with them. We're going to refer to them. They're going to come out to Deer Hollow. We're going to show them the deal and how it all works. So we partner with local clinicians as well. And we're referring to them in the individual areas for the kids, for spouses, for couples therapy, because we're not going to do that. We're going to provide the support as much as we can, but really we're a referral network as well, helping them get connected to local resources and trying to establish like I don't know, like base stations of support all around the nation in the areas that we work in. We work a lot in Pacific Northwest and Utah and different areas. We're now getting into California a little bit, trying to figure out how to weasel our way in there, which is a little tough. But what we're trying to figure out how to really create innovative support systems for people that work, that are based in evidence. And this is, I'm not here to knock other methods of treatment. but I will say this one thing boldly. Many of our colleagues in the industry are, with good intentions, creating support systems and creating treatment that is effective in a sense. However, the research and the data that supports the way we go about doing these things, a lot of the centers that I've seen and toured and worked with and stuff like that, they're not doing that stuff. They're sticking with the way that things have always been done. Right? Like, I worked in one for a long time. They're still 12 steps is great, but that's the main model that they're using for treatment. You know, and you know, I love retreats. I think retreats are great. I think they're wonderful. I think they're fabulous and can be very valuable. In fact, one day I want to do some retreat stuff. But if you've got PTSD, man, 6 days at a retreat, it's a great start. That's not going to heal you.
Right.
It's going to give you a catalyst toward healing, but what are you doing after? What's that look like? Like, what's we call it the continuum of care. So, Dear Hollow, we were like, we need a continuum of care. We need to be able to reach all these people all over the nation. So we started a telehealth program, this IOP telehealth program, 3 days a week, 3 hours a day in these programs, where they can go on and they can meet and do group therapy, like I talked about, with first responders from all over the country. It's freaking fabulous, right? That's the kind of stuff that has to start to happen. Not a whole lot of other people are doing that kind of stuff because it doesn't make money. We're not really in this to make money.
Right.
We're in this because it's a labor of love and passion, you know, and I'm not freaking wealthy by any means. But I do this because it's my calling, right? A lot of these organizations out there are making a shit ton of money, and the return on your investment is that you get to come back in 6 months. And I think that that's a shame. And I'm kind of the guy that speaks out against that stuff. And we've got these organizations out there that are claiming to be something they're not. You know,
I've seen that firsthand. My wife, when she was in nursing school, kind of dabbled into a treatment center, ended up working a second job doing that. And she said the same thing. The entire intention behind that was to make them have a really good, pleasant time so they wanted to come back. It was not to treat their,
wow.
And this was substance abuse. And it wasn't designed. I mean, the business model wasn't supportive of that, because what happens if they actually address the issue? They don't have any return client.
It
sucks, but that's the nature.
It is. That's the medical model right now, right? Is I got people coming back. That's why we do meds, because you're going to be on it forever.
Right.
Can't come off. Yeah, we don't want something to heal. We want something to treat, and that's different.
Statins, you can't get off of them.
Yeah, we don't go there. Anyways, and I'm not here to like I don't want people to take this the wrong way and be like, oh, he's bad mouthing, you know, the competitors or whatever. I'm not bad mouthing. I'm just speaking the truth, man. People got to be aware. Yeah. Right? Like, do your freaking homework. Look around. Get anecdotal experiences from people who've been there. And if they've been there 2 or 3 or 4 times, or they're talking about, you know, when you come back, or, you know, the support system, or, you know, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna take freaking 90 days. Right? You're going to come out. You don't need 90 days either, right? You need a period of time, a short period of time, 30-ish days, right? That's what the research says. Go and look at the data, 30-something days. And then you need follow-up care for a long-ass time. Right. And that needs to be a support network of people that you feel connected to, because the big problem here is you've been lonely. And I think it's imperative for experts in the industry, and you know, I'm not a self-touted expert. I'm an expert in the industry because of my reputation, and as an expert in this industry, right? Like, we have to follow what the data says when it comes to treating and healing people, and it's unfortunate that that's not the state of the industry as a whole right now. And I hope that we can get back to that. I hope that we can get corporate money-making pieces of out of the picture, because I don't know, man. Like, I've been to so many fucking funerals, dude. I've been to so many people. These are my friends, right? Like, I've sat for hours, dozens and dozens of hours with these guys, and they're telling me, and they're bearing their souls to me, and they're like, dude, I went to this treatment center, I didn't do shit. I went to this therapist and didn't do shit, and I come to you and I finally feel seen, right? They're my friends. I build these relationships with these people, and I love them, man. And they get to go back to their lives, and they have the support that they need, and they get back to their life. But then there's these other guys that I meet, that I know, and like, they're telling me, like, my buddy just killed himself. And I go to the funeral with him, and he's sitting there crying on my shoulder, and this is a client of mine, you know? And I'm just like, I don't go to suicide funerals anymore. I can't do it. I'm done. If I know him, maybe, but I can't. It's too much.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's so heavy and dark and painful, and I just want that to stop, man. I want people to live their life, and I want them, fathers to have children, and children to have fathers, and moms to stick around for their kids and to stick around for their husbands. I mean, that's what we want, you know?
Yeah.
I'm glad there's dudes out there like you doing it.
Thanks, man.
You're not the typical clinician, bro.
No.
You're not what people would, you don't fit the stereotype.
Yeah.
That's good. Maybe we need to change the stereotype of therapists. You know?
We definitely do. I got to wrap it up, boys. I got to get to a meeting. But, man, thank you. This has been
awesome. Yeah, just awesome.
Really, I nerd out on all this shit. I love everything we talked about. So thank you very much. Thanks for making time for us while you're up here.
Thanks for sticking with me for as long as you guys did.
Dude, it was great,
love to do it again next time you're up. Bring somebody cool with you too. Let's do it. And we'll be in the new studio by then. So
we'll definitely go hit the sauna.
Yeah.
Love it. Check out Finding Strength Podcast, Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. Hit me up, Matt Quackenbush, on all the social medias. Follow me, email, etc. First Watch Wellness, Deer Hollow Recovery, Finding Strength.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I'll link all that in the show notes too, so you guys can find it.
Awesome.
All right. Later.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.